Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Robocraft with me, Lathrix. And of course, welcome for the last time, at least for the not-so-distant future, to Copter McCopterface. In today's episode, we are building a hovercraft, very likely to be a hover rail, perhaps using the most powerful rail in the game, as I am very tempted to start recycling some of the items we're not currently using. But to do this, sadly, we do need some more crafting materials, some more building materials, mostly just regular cubes, the sloped cubes, and pretty much everything that my robots are currently made of. The parasite is actually very block light. In fact, that's the reason why I built it in such a weird way, because I didn't really have many blocks left, but Copter McCopterface is actually surprisingly heavy, so we are dismantling it. I had a lot of fun with Copter McCopterface, and it was definitely the best robot I have for the single-player mode, which is a weirdly viable tactic now to get loot and levels, but for now, we are going to be dismantling it for spare parts. So, let's get started then. Before we actually get into the building, let's have a quick look-see what we actually have and what we're going to need. So, like I say, I am very, very tempted to get the Rail Eraser, the most powerful rail in the game, but only one of them. The logic I have, and it may be very flawed logic knowing me, is we're going to have one Rail Eraser being able to do a load of burst damage, one very nasty shot. If we hit with that shot, it's going to absolutely cripple the target, and then we're going to have Rail Piercers as the main weapon, so we simply swap between the two, both of the extremes when it comes to the rail weapons. Or I could perhaps even get a couple of Rail Decimators, but honestly, this sounds more fun, and I do want the Rail Eraser for our tank as well, so it will get some more uses. So we're going to have 6 or maybe 7 Rail Piercers is the goal, maybe it won't turn out that way, 1 Rail Eraser, and then a couple of Laser Wasps, just because I find having a couple of lasers is always really useful. Now when it comes to movement, I do need a couple more hovers. We're probably just going to go with the really light hover, because we already have 5 of them, although I am tempted to maybe go into the level up, because there's not much of a price difference, honestly. This one is 800, this one is 880, it all depends on how much spare robots we have after the Recycle Fest. So, let's do that now. You I don't need. You I will need in the future. Do I really need this many legs? No, I don't. In fact, I only want 2 spare, so if we want a robot with 4 legs with the other Spartan legs which the other robot has, actually no, that's a lie, the other robot has the Centaur, so actually that doesn't really change anything, just bears mentioning that if we ever do want to make a very small leg robot with multiple legs, we are kind of screwing ourselves over, but that's fine for now. So recycle all those, and we have enough for the Rail Eraser, so let's go ahead and purchase that. And we're pretty much back to where we was, which is actually really good, because that means we can, if we want to, craft some more hovers. I won't do that just yet, but it does mean we have the option if we need to. So let's start figuring this stuff out. The question is really, the only question I do have is how much am I willing to spend on cubes? Are we going to be really functionally heavy, a lot of hovers, a lot of weapons, and then maybe some thrusters, which will need crafting, or are we going to go for a bit more of a sluggish hover with a bit more defense? Now, normally, I would go straight for defense, because anyone who's been watching the channel for any length of time probably knows I'm a sucker when it comes to very, very defensive robots. I like the idea of being a tank, and that's kind of how I've played every MMO since the start of me playing MMOs, honestly. I've always been either a tank or a healer. I'm very rarely the damage dealer, as I find that the least entertaining, but in this case, I wouldn't mind going down the route of being incredibly aggressive. Having the rails on such a short cooldown does give the feel of being incredibly aggressive, and I do like that idea. So, first step though, before we get into any of that and any real ideas, how am I going to do the hovers? Now the hovers, of course, are very small and very easy to fit pretty much anywhere, which is very nice, but I would like to make sure they take damage as little as possible, so obviously going with this spine idea would be a terrible one. But what we could do is maybe split the spine into 2 sections, and then use prisms to fill the inside once we've gone up and down a layer, and then have these spines using the hovers. That way there's less chance of them all being knocked off in a single blow, so that would be pretty good. Also, I will now need one more of those to make things equal. Don't know how I didn't realise that before, but now we have realised. Putting them something like that. Now, this is obviously very, very front heavy at the moment, but we can fix that later. Again, I don't really want to go too block heavy in this, but it seems like maybe that is just going to be the case. I'll fill all this in later to make sure that the two sides don't clip into each other. Actually, what I could do is just do that now. This does pose a lot of weaknesses, honestly. This isn't the best way to do this, but as always, because I'm constantly changing robots, I don't really want to think about it all too much. I just want to keep on building robots I enjoy playing, and then build a new one, because that's kind of my style. Where are you? There you are. Put you down here. I'll just continue this pattern all the way along, making the lovely biohazard symbol yet again. My microbiology roots will always stalk me, apparently. Glory to Nurgle and all that. Okay, so you like that. So you're a little bit smaller at the back, that's fine, because we're going to be loading up all this section anyway with the rails. Now, one thing I will need to do, which is kind of sad, is steal the rails and the aero rods from this boss, our lovely parasite, so that we can use them on this guy. How does this even fly? Let's have a quick look-see how this handles at the moment. I'm not sure how effective hovers are. At one point, hovers would keep a robot upright no matter what, then they kind of reverted back, then they went silly. Okay, so at the moment, it's just dumb. So what we might need to do is put a hover in the front, just to make sure this constant dipping isn't always there. The end result, like I say, is I want a quite aggressive robot that can get out of situations nice and easily, as that's the big advantage to using hovers, and if we're going to be using rails anyway, we may as well make it so they're a bit of a defense mechanism. Now that should balance that out pretty well. I would like a hover at the back, but that makes the base structure, and then we can build on top of this, although I do think this is the good time to cut, so I can have a bit of a think and decide exactly how we're actually going to do the hover. So here we are with our very basic prototype. Not exactly what I envisioned, but it will certainly get the job done, although I'm not very trusting of these two front rails, as I normally don't like sideways mounted rails, but they seem to fit so perfectly there, I simply couldn't resist. It's kind of like a floating evil scorpion with an oversized nose, honestly, with a body of a weird boat. Not exactly the combination of things you would normally expect a robot to be, but there we are. We now have 4 rails, as we can see, for the regular rails that is. We have one of the larger rails, as we purchased earlier, and we have 2 of the laser hornets. The laser hornets are very quickly becoming my favourite weapon in the game, in terms of lasers at least, as I feel they embody a nice balance between damage per shot and rate of fire. They still fire very quickly, although of course not as fast as the laser wasp, but they're still pretty good at medium to long range because their shots deal a fair bit more damage. So I'm definitely happier with the Hornet over the Wasp, at least with my type of playstyle. I would have liked to add more rail piercers, but honestly we simply didn't have the space, we didn't have the aero rods to build it all up, and I didn't have enough blocks to build it up either, as the original robot actually had 6 rails, but then I couldn't build the body. So that was a little bit terrible. So anyway, this is our prototype. I'm not even going to bother testing it. We're just going to get straight into a team deathmatch, see how we do, and see how we can improve, and then rebuild it afterwards, if I want to do that. And so the untested robot enters battle. I'm very thankful to say I'm not seeing any very large CPU builds, so we're definitely being put up against people who are hopefully our size. Now, that lovely person there is lagging, and I will refuse to get too angry at them. Oh, so much damage there by our main rail. Let's get a little bit lower so we can actually use our smaller rails. Load of damage done there, and the rest of our rails cleaning him up very, very nicely. Move forward a little bit, main rail online, and half of that robot being instantly deleted there by our, I can't remember the name of the larger rail. And I think we did just get the kill. Going back for the larger rail, and oh my lord, that rail is freaking amazing. How did I live without it? Swapping between the two rail types is something I'll have to get used to, though. Oh. Trying to no-scope here, because honestly I don't want to get back out in the open. Let's move around. Clipping on everything, so a bit too low. Hover's definitely a bit too vulnerable, and we're actually out of balance. Oh! Getting the kill there. No-scoped with the massive rail. Excellent. Excuse me, I want to steal that kill. Thank you. Using our hover's imbalance there to our advantage. Spot him for the team, and instantly destroyed by the massive rail. Oh my god, the stinger on this thing is amazing. You're like an evil scorpion. It's oh, I think I actually really like this spot. I can see so many problems with it, but for a quick build, I'm really, really happy. And that's the important thing in life. Ooh, hello, evil plasma. Can someone spot the enemy currently shooting at them with plasma? Anyone? Where on earth is that guy being attacked from? There's the guy over there, but that can't possibly be doing the damage because he's far too far away. Oh, that is either he's hacking or that is ghost damage of a really weird kind, because I have never seen the explosions going off from a desynced player. Okay, definitely a desynced player. This has been happening way too much recently. I've actually complained on Twitter and forums, which is a very rare thing for me to do, and actually done a lot of screenshots and stuff, and it's just happening way too much. I believe there might be an exploit at the moment, because, yeah, that's... Oh, please don't go onto the capture point. If you go onto the capture point, you're going to interrupt. Oh, fantastic. It's rare of me to kind of want someone to die on our team, but if you died, I wouldn't be too upset. Yep. Robocraft, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just skip ahead until this eventually ends. Well, I am officially annoyed. To a level where I was very tempted then to actually stop the recording. The salt levels were dangerously high. At the very last second, after the victory screen popped up, I got destroyed and it counted me as being destroyed. By a ghost, apparently, who was shooting plasma after being desynced. It's becoming so common, I'm really contemplating having a break from Robocraft for a couple of days. That was horrible, absolutely annoying. We even got top place, by a fair margin as well. But let's just ignore that. We have one more hoverblade. Yeah, let's get straight into another battle and just pretend that didn't happen. Second battle, let's see if this time our experience will be a little less buggy. I'm still reeling from that last battle, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm still very tempted to stop the recording at any moment's notice, but even so, let's just get on with it, do as much damage as we can, and hopefully get the protonium crate we deserve this time. Okay, don't really know why I swapped over to the laser there, when honestly we could have just kept on firing our rail. He does have a rail, but thankfully we have a bigger one, and there he goes. So back to the large rail, and shoot now. Oh my lord, that rail is just so powerful! It's kind of ridiculous, honestly, that this scorpion tail is just devastating enemies it actually hits. Of course, then I missed with it, but let's pretend that didn't happen. Should stay a little bit lower. That's one thing. I shouldn't be hovering so high all the time. It's making it take far too long for me to get to a level where my rails are actually accurate. I saw enemies for a second. Well, I saw enemy shots. There he is. Spot him for the team. And let's do a little bit of damage with our lasers. Giving them some purpose. Okay, enemy over there. Still quite a few enemies left. I thought there was a lot less of them. Okay, you want to go this way for reasons unknown. I kind of wanted to skid across the floor, honestly. Oh, fly up. Oh, if that hit, I feel like that could have done some crippling damage against such a small robot. As I was saying, crippling damage. Maybe adding ski. Yeah, adding skis to this wouldn't be a terrible idea, honestly. Being able to slide across the floor. I wonder how much skis cost. We'll have a look after this battle. So far not had any major issues having our weapons on the side. Almost killed him there, that second shot. Definitely getting an assist, if nothing else. How did my large laser just clip there? I have no idea how that just happened. Either way, there we go, victory. This time actually ending in a victory, and the second battle in a row where I got the top score. Really wish I was recording for the very end of that last battle, just to show that as well. That rail, though, is amazing. And that's okay, nothing too special. So, skis. We could definitely add skis to this robot, we definitely have the space for it, and actually the build itself wouldn't be too bad and too changed if we did add them. So, where are you, my lovelies? There we are. Oh, you're rare? Really? Okay, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So let's have one last battle. I'm actually remarkably happy with this bot, but to be honest, I think I'm just happy with the rail. This does need some more refining, but I will be putting it up on the store at the end of the episode. Maybe it's a bit too late right now, but my speech is going somewhere very special, it seems. And so begins the final battle. One thing I've very quickly done is balance the thrusters a little bit, meaning that we should no longer tip forward as much as we normally do. Now, I will be tipping forwards anyway because we have more lift on the back than we do at the front, but yep, it actually balances out slightly when we're moving. I was about to say it shouldn't get any worse when moving, but it seems like I've actually balanced it a little bit too well, quote-unquote. Hello. You're an enemy who I think has a shotgun. I don't know why I think you have a shotgun, I just kind of do. I just assume everyone has shotguns now. So he does. Yeah, let me back up. Don't want to die an early death. I'll die a light death. Much better. You have 2 rails. Let's say that much for a fact. I kind of want to core him down the middle. Not the best idea, but I just want to do it. I'm sorry, my German friend. Okay, this is our place. Let's rest here for a second. Oh, hitting with the mine. The difference between that mine rail and the little ones is astounding. It really is. I wish I had more than one, though, because that reload time is torture in comparison. Hello. Enemy over there, I think. But we're not really going to go for him. We're just going to go for the cap. Don't think I'm going to get a particularly high score in this battle, honestly. Spotted him. Not in a good position to fire at him, though. Hello. There goes both his rails, and he's backing off. See, that's the problem I find. When you de-weapon someone, they tend to hide very quickly. Oh, most of him gone there with that shot. Or if you half their robot, that also has a very similar effect, I find. Oh, I wish he was sticking out a little bit more. My friend there, a much better rail than me, apparently. Gone with the main rail, with the sting, which I'm going to call it from now on. Uh-oh, back off, back off, back off. He has the same rails as my sting. That was actually pretty good. We survived pretty well. We can still fly. Excuse me? I was talking about my robot there and really not paying attention to you. However, you appear to be on your back and now being killed. There we are. Vengeance and all that. Not so happy with my gameplay there, honestly, but we somehow managed to kind of cheese first place by getting quite a few assists and a bit of damage done. Which really isn't cheesing first place, honestly, it's just playing the game, but I missed way too much to warrant that. I think I may be being carried by my rail. Oh, it's slow, which means it's a wheel. I mean, I don't think that's the biggest wheel type. Not including the Mega, anyway. In fact, it's... okay, it's not the biggest, it's not the smallest. But you only get 650 back from actually recycling it, and that feels really bad. But at the same time, am I ever going to use a robot that needs this? No, I'm not, so let's get rid of that. There we go, all gone. I think I will have one more match, just because honestly I'm having a lot of fun with this robot, a lot of fun with the rail, I think, more specifically. So let's see if we can do a little bit better than that match. Although we did get first place, getting first place doesn't always mean you played well, it just means you ended up getting the damage. And so begins the true last battle. This time, I promise, this will actually be it. I'm really of two minds about this robot. We haven't really tested it properly yet in terms of taking damage and stuff, and honestly, I think I'm just in love with the fact that it moves quickly and has a very, very nasty sting, and the concept of that is just kind of fun. But I don't think it's a type of boss I will keep as a main robot until I have enough CPU to make it a little bit more durable. I'm not saying completely tanky, because I don't think that's really its nature, but more so than it is now. Hit it with the sting, and can we do a bit more damage? No, we can't, because we can't hit a potato. Why did I swap to my lasers there? Answer, I didn't mean to. Oh, we should have swapped to the main sting laser. Rail. Main sting rail. Maybe I should just call it Sting from now on. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Okay, that rail should be healed by now, so we should get moving. We can't get the kill, because I am terrified of that rail attacking us right then. I mean, we survived damage okay then. We didn't really do too well against it, but we survived well enough. Took off a lot of his health there, and I think I may have got the kill. If not, we at least got an assist. Swapping between the two rail types is actually quite a intensive process. It's something I have to think about, and thinking about it gets me really confused. And I end up accidentally swapping to my lasers for like 20th time. Oh, wow, that hurt him. We had one rail which couldn't hit the target then, and that's the rail that fired. That's unfortunate. Oh, and he's absolutely crushing our ally. Oh, we did a lot of damage to him though. Let's see if we can finish him off with the Hornets. We actually absorbed the plasma of our shield. Well done, shield. Shields are a lot better than they used to be, I've got to say that. Since the patch, shields actually seem somewhat useful. And, okay, second place. I'm completely fine with that. I think I am happy with this robot. I think the rails need a better placement. I think I may actually consider going for full-on lasers other than the main rail, but for now, I'm actually pretty happy with it. And we have one more tank track Warthog, and we would have got a front laser wasp. Oh, the humanity, we don't have that. Now, someone was asking, why don't I sell all of the front lasers, since we currently have them here, and I don't like them. I'm never going to use them, so why don't I sell them? The reason is, because they're going to be changed soon, either being made better or simply removed, there's a very good chance we'll get a better amount of robots back than we currently are. Because honestly, 80 per one isn't really much, but if we get back closer to the 400 they cost to make, then that will be a lot better. So for now, they're just being banked in reserve until we eventually either run out of patience or get the lovely patch where they change and either get better or simply are removed from the game. So before I forget, let's quickly upload this. I'm going to call it Sting because, well, I've been calling it that all day, so there we are. And has a rail for a sting, likes to sting, don't sting yourself. Yay. And so Sting is now on the Robo Factory in case anyone would like to purchase it. I wouldn't really recommend it, but if you have any ideas to make it better, then please feel free to call it Sting Mark II or something and re-upload it and mention it in the comments. I will have a look. I'm actually quite happy with it. I just understand it's not a good robot. It definitely has a lot of room for improvement, but I am really enjoying very quickly throwing together robots and just testing them out. That is really enjoyable, rather than focusing for like 2 days on one robot, then making sure I always have that robot. Just making things like this for the hell of it, going into a few battles, actually doing surprisingly well, and then retiring it back into the ages. So thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed today's episode, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Robocraft is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Next episode, I will most likely be playing with this robot a little bit more, but perhaps testing out if the Plasma Devastator would make a good weapon for the front of the robot, thus having two epic weapons, both very high damage and both being medium to long range. I'm not sure how it will do, but what I could do is change these outside rails for lasers, thus making it a little bit more durable in both long and short range combat. I don't really know, I just want to see what it's like to have very power consuming weapons rather than all of these very light weapons and a single strong weapon. Once again, thank you for watching, and goodbye.